A very small man can cast a very large shadow.
Hello and welcome to the Silence channel. Today we're going to dive deep into the character of Tyrion Lannister, exploring how he navigates the complex world of power in the Game of Thrones universe and how he not only survives but thrives in the game despite some significant challenges. At first glance, Tyrion has an advantage, being born into one of the wealthiest and most influential families in the kingdom. However, his stature as a dwarf, coupled with the disdain he faces from much of his own family, complicates matters. This sets him on a path filled with potential trauma and self-destruction. After all, he has to interact with other members of royal families as a member of the Lannister family, showcasing power and pride, which is not an easy job to fulfill for a dwarf that carries the weight of his family members' loathing. Despite all of this pressure, he managed to step out of the shadow of his past and physical limitations by using his only weapon, his mind. Let's see how he uses his mental abilities to impress others and adapt to the tricky environment of power by becoming one of the most influential men in the kingdom. Tyrion possesses a deep understanding of who he is, his strengths and his weaknesses. This self-awareness gives him a twofold advantage in his interactions. First, he can present himself more effectively by highlighting his admirable qualities and concealing his vulnerabilities. Take a look at his demeanor during the council meeting led by his father, Tyrion Lannister, during their war with Robb Stark. Tyrion knows that he is not a warrior, and is not particularly esteemed or supported in this power structure. So instead of deluding himself into thinking he can actively participate, he patiently waits for the ideal moments to grab everyone's attention and offer his insights on the situation.
Perhaps we should sue for peace.
There's your piece. Joffrey saw to that when he decided to remove Ned Stark's head.
His approach here contrasts sharply with how he introduces himself as the Hand of the King in Westeros after receiving a note from his father.
Don't get up.
His casual behavior and beginning remarks about his journey is backed up by the position that has been entrusted to him and sets the stage for his leadership in the meetings. Tyrion is never shy about using his wealth, humor or social standings as tools to impress others, which showcases his knack for recognizing his abilities and status and using them to his advantage. The second way that his self-consciousness serves him is by offering him a clear self-image which aligns with what other people see in him. And as a result, the chances of them exploiting Tyrion and playing him decreases.
I'm not Ned Stark. I understand the way this game is played.
He often utilizes humor and self-deprecating remarks to disarm others and establish communication that suits his talents. By being upfront about his desires and identity, Tyrion creates a comfortable atmosphere where he can not only meet but exceed others' expectations. His self-awareness turns his physical shortcomings into a surprise element, setting the stage for his ability to read and influence people. Unlike many characters in the show, Tyrion avoids taking advantage of others. His approach blends sympathy, generosity, and of course, curiosity. Being kind to those in need or beneath him makes him appear more approachable. And in turn, Tyrion gains a few allies and friends when things go awry for him. Appealing to others' sense of entitlement and addressing their needs and desires is a great way to find common ground, and Tyrion excels at this. Throughout the show, he encourages others to open up by using drinking games or sharing personal stories, making them more likely to share their experiences and reveal what really motivates them. By understanding what drives people, Tyrion can communicate more effectively and foster collaboration. Simultaneously, he gets to know who can be trusted by paying attention to their past actions. Power is transient and depends on the situations that present themselves. Tyrion understands these dynamics and tries to appeal to everyone and build relationships that may prove valuable in the future. Over the course of the show, Tyrion managed to navigate and escape from numerous conflicts and challenges. While luck plays a role, the main reason for his success in these tough situations is his flexible and multidimensional character coupled with his astute understanding of the complexities of power dynamics. Let's dissect two trials where Tyrion's brilliance helped him survive. The trials following Joffrey's murder and Bronn Stark's attempted murder. Both followed a similar pattern, beginning with false accusations, biased judges, and Tyrion's imprisonment to pressure him into confessing to crimes he didn't commit. Obviously, the trials were nothing but pure formalities, where the outcomes of the court would be decided by the royal judges. After assessing the situation, Tyrion strategically opted for trial by combat as a way to save his life. However, this could not be boiled down to a simple act of thinking outside the box.
I will not give my life for Joffrey's murder, and I know I'll get no justice here, so I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand a trial by combat.
As a dwarf, Tyrion has been the subject of accusations and prejudice his whole life, and now that he is on trial, many of the audience are against him. If he had requested a trial by combat at the beginning of the trials, he would have faced certain death both times because he wouldn't have been able to find someone to fight on his behalf. Instead, he cleverly created tension by using humor in the Eyrie and threats in Westeros to shift the atmosphere in his favor. You can see how he made Bronn laugh by telling funny stories about his childhood deeds and piqued Oberyn's curiosity by highlighting his father's hatred toward him, which ultimately increased his chances of finding champions in both cases. The point here is not that Tyrion consciously planned the whole procedure, but it's about his strategy to shuffling the decks by creating tension and hoping for a twist. Although Bronn and Oberyn's motivations differed, Tyrion's false confessions appealed to them. In the Eyrie, Tyrion's humor transformed him from a despicable figure trying to harm a child to someone more relatable, and with a good sense of humor, increasing the likelihood of finding a champion. In the trial for Joffrey's murder, his provocative speech prompted Oberyn to seek revenge on Tyrion Lannister by saving Tyrion and exposing Tyrion's role in the killing and rape of his sister, Elia. Surviving in the Game of Thrones is about mastering the game of power. Tyrion and a few characters realize that it's not just about handling superiors, but adopting a general attitude that secures resources. Tyrion doesn't shy away from anyone, even those he dislikes. Instead, he seeks to understand their motivations and vulnerabilities while keeping them in check. We've discussed his compassionate and humorous approach toward those beneath him, and now let's explore how he interacts with individuals more powerful than himself. Interestingly enough, we almost never see Tyrion forsaking or hiding his ideas or bending over backwards to gain anyone's attention or mercy. The most he offers by his body language as a sign of respect is averting his gaze and looking down. His approach revolves around speaking candidly and never showing weakness, even if it borders on offensiveness.
So I should welcome you into my service because you murdered members of your own family?
Into your service? Your Grace, we have only just met. It's too soon to know if you deserve my service.
Now, the offensive remarks aren't meant to hurt, rather they aim to earn the other party's respect and, more importantly, invite the other party to a more candid form of communication. This is an important quality if you are to serve as an advisor. This approach becomes particularly evident when he becomes the hand of the king for Joffrey, and he continues to employ it during his time as Daenerys' advisor. Notice how he addresses Daenerys' family reputation for madness immediately after she accepts him as her advisor.
You're in the great game now. And the great game is terrifying. The only people who aren't afraid of failure are madmen like your father.
While discussing his boss's shortcomings might seem audacious, it serves him to maintain control and honesty both with himself and the other party by highlighting potential issues that may arise. Over the next few weeks, we'll delve into different Game of Thrones characters, so be sure to subscribe and join our channel. Thanks for tuning in.